Okay, we are live. I need to adjust my... I've got that angled a little bit too high. There we go, that's a little better. Okay, sorry, that was looking like cutting me off at the chin. I need to angle that up a bit more. And we're just gonna hang out for a minute, like the usual. Wait until that changes. Actually, I just realized I did not change my top left header. That needs to be July. There we go, fixed. Fixed on the fly. If you can hear me, you can see me, please mention something in the chat. Kind of want to see if there's anybody on. It may not show over here, of course, for a bit, but if you can hear me and see me, let me know so I can make sure I'm actually online properly. I need to keep moving that camera because it's kind of off angle. Now that I'm shifted, I've moved myself back. Okay. Anywho. Hey, welcome, Joanna. Good to see you. All right. Is the volume okay? Does it seem quiet? I've been having issues with my microphone the past couple of days. I've been playing online with a couple of friends playing a different game, and they said my audio was really quiet, and I tried to adjust my levels a bit to see if it comes out better. Not sure if that actually worked. Welcome, welcome. Lex Luthor 48. And that number should hopefully be changing to something other. Oh, there we go. I have 9 now. Like on cue. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just get started here. The first thing I wanted to show you guys, of course, is, as usual, the bosses. Now, this is one of the new bosses. It looks like it's like a fire elemental, basically. Like an element of just fire with, like, flames and stuff coming around it. And it has kind of this, kind of silvery bit, which would indicate air, because it is air month. So this is going to be an air fire boss. This is a brand new one. This one is a reused boss. This is, I think it was Rico's Soul, if I remember right. This one is a reskin of that one, so this is a reused boss. And the third boss is the same kind of look as the first one, but air and earth this time. So it has kind of those greenish colors. A lot of background white noise. Huh. Hang on one second. I'm going to try something. Apologies if you have headphones on. You might want to move them away from your ears. I was trying to mess with this earlier, so bear with me. There for a second, but now it should be back. That's what I was talking about. I've been having a lot of like background noise and like issues with my audio kind of coming in and out. So welcome, Nifsu. But yeah, anyway, so I'm getting going now. I'm hoping it's better than it was, at least, because I actually had to crank the gain on my settings to get it to where it was in kind of more of a manageable range. So I'm going to turn that down just a little so it's not quite as loud. Hopefully I'm not blowing anybody's ears out. Anyway, so there's the third boss. So we're back on here again. We've got the, apparently I'm not on the window anymore. Oh, I zoomed in. So this one is, like I said, this is the air and earth boss. Some effects. So there's the air and earth kind of avatar, the look of it. So it looks kind of like an earth elemental, I guess. And then we have the fire one, which is similar, but has kind of almost like, looks like a hand look to it. And then this is the reused boss. So that's them. So we have boss number 1, then we have boss number 2, and we have boss number 3. So for those of you who missed it, there's air, fire, air, earth, and air, water. Air, earth, and air, water aren't a big surprise, but the air, fire, because there's 3 raids, is going to be a different one. So there's 3 raids next month and 2 wars. So that's 5 armors already right there. Anywho, moving on to the armors. So the first one is that reskin I was just talking about. This is the reskin of Rico's Soul. It's air and water. So this is our first one. Armor 1, air water. That is female. I think the next one, yeah, the next one is the male version. And then we have, this is the second reskin. There's actually only 2. There's only 2 reskins. I guess this 2 reskins, depending on which country you're from. In the US, we do this. Other countries do this, usually first and second, you know. But anyway, there's 2 reskins so far. If I remember correctly, there's just 2 reskins. Let me look at my notes here really fast. So we have 1, 2, 3 air water. 1, 2. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. 3, yeah. Okay, I was going to say, I thought there was a 4th. No, there's 3. There's 3 air and fire, one of which is a raid. And then there's, let's see, 1, 2 air spirit, 1, 2 1, 2 air earth, so one of course is a raid, and then the air. So there's actually 11 armors in total. I would have expected there to be 10 because, you know, we have the seasonal exclusive and then the 3 seasonal, so that's 4. We have the fusion, that's 5. And then we have the raid, war, raid, war, raid. So we have 10 normally. There's 11th armor in here. I don't know what the plan is for it. So anyway, this is Air and Spirit. This one was originally the Oxen Bulwark, which actually itself was a combo reskin. But this is now the 3rd look of this particular armor because the last one was Barbarian Keeper, I think. It was actually pretty recent. It was Fire Month, I think. So this is Armor 2, Air Spirit. That one I'm pretty sure is the male. Looks like male. Then we have, yeah, that's the female, so that's immediately afterwards. So that makes it easy. Okay, and then we have another one of the Rico's Soul Reskin. That's the female, but not ascended. 1 step down. And there's the male, again, not ascended. Or, I usually say 1 step down or not ascended, but anyway. This is the raid armor that's air and fire. So you can see the shield looks just like that, the face of that boss. So this is the first raid armor of the 3. That is male, I believe. That is Airfire number 2. This is, I believe, going to be our seasonal, but I could be wrong on that. I will usually, like I usually do, I'll give my predictions at the end, but this one is, I believe, one of the seasonals. And then we have the 3rd Air and Fire, which I'm assuming is probably going to be a war, but I'm not positive. So there's going to be a raid, a war, and then a seasonal. So there's 3 Air Fire. So this is armor number 5. Whoops, fingers are all over the place there. Air Fire, that one I think is male, looks like it. And then we have the Air Fire here. I think it was this one. No, sorry, wrong one. This one right here. So this is the female version of the same armor. Now we have the Air and Earth. So this is the same exact armor, just a different color, kind of a different color scheme because it's an Air and Earth version instead of Air and Fire. So this is exactly the same armor, just has a different color palette, just like the bosses have a different color palette. So this is armor 6, Air Earth. I think that's male, looks like it. And then we have the reskin of the Oxen Bulwark or Barbarian Keeper, whatever term you prefer for the more recent one is the latter of the 2. Now we have an Air and Earth. I think Air and Earth is seasonal if memory serves. So this is probably going to be the seasonal. Armor 7, Air Earth, male. So that's the seasonal, I'm assuming, Air Earth. There's the Air and Earth raid armor, which was this one, but this is the female version. Sound? Are you still having issues with sound? Like I said earlier, I've been having issues with my setup with my microphone for some reason, but I'm not sure if anyone else is having issues. Is it just Dougie, or are other people also having issues with sound? I did crank the gain on it by 10 decibels, so it should be much louder than it normally would have been, but I had to do that because my levels were so low that I couldn't even register I was recording anything for a bit there, so. Anyway, yeah, so this one is, that one's done. Moving on. So this is the Air and Fire. That's the, I want to say it's this one. Yeah. So this is the female version of that one. There's the Air and Earth we just looked at, which I think was that one? Nope. Picked the wrong one right off the bat. That one, right there, okay. This is the female of that one. Now we have one of the new armors. This is Air and Water. So this one is probably going to be Fusion. That would be my guess at this point. Because they usually have the ones that are kind of more elaborate, kind of more intricate designs are usually the Fusion ones. So I'm going to assume that this one, number 8, is the fusion armor, air and water, because that would be the fusion for this month. Or for next month, I should say. So that's the male of that one. And there's the Rico's Soul Reskin. That looks to be the male base of that one. So level 1 look. There's Air and Fire number 2, I believe. So this one right here. No, of course not. It's the third one. Because there's 3 of them. I'd have to make it confusing for me. So that's the female version of that one. There is the one I just looked at, which is number 4. Yep, that's the male version of that one, but 1 step down from Ascension. There's the Oxen Bulwark reskin, which I think that's the female, but not Ascended, 1 step down from Ascension. That is the other Air and Spirit, so that's armor number 9. I think that's male, pretty sure. And there's number 4, I think. Yep. Number 4 female. And here is, for those of you who are waiting, that's our dual air. That's what it looks like. Doesn't look distinctly air to me, but it does have kind of the air sort of looks to it. Yeah, I actually am using OBS. I'm not using the Streamlabs version of OBS, I'm just using OBS. And I did actually try to add a filter of a gain, and it didn't really seem to help much, so I just manually adjusted my settings on my microphone to crank the gain up by 10 decibels. So that should hopefully help. But I might want to add in a noise gate too, possibly. I wonder if I could do that now. Let me add one. About now. I need to mess with it when I'm not online. Yeah, I need to mess with that setting when I'm not online. Because I just killed my audio by cranking the noise gate up too high. Anyway, I'll mess with that later. I'll maybe do like a short recording session with myself just to see what that sounds like. Anyway, so this is the dual air. It does not, like I said, look distinctly dual air to me. It looks kind of more watery, but it is what it is. That's our dual air. So that, I believe, is the male. Armor 10. Whoops. That is air, male, and why are you not moving? There we go. That is our raid armor, air and earth, which I believe was the first one. Yes. Okay, cool. But that's the unascended version of the male. There is the same one, but the female, I think that's, yeah, that's the female version. 1 step down. There's our air and spirit, this one right here. This is the female version of that one, I believe. It's hard to tell sometimes. There's our female version of the dual air. This is the 11th armor. I don't know what the plan is for this armor. I'm going to assume it's probably the one of the things they talked about, I want to say it was last month sometime, about getting more players back to the game, or the player of the month, sorry, the player of the month thing they talked about. Maybe this is that armor, I don't know. Entirely a guess on my part. But I'm guessing that must be what it's for, because this is an 11th armor and it doesn't really fit anywhere else. Okay, so that's that one. That's the third air and water. Now we have our seasonal, which I think was this one. No, of course not. I picked the wrong one every time. Too many armors to keep track of. So that is the male, but 1 step down from Ascension. There's our dual air male. There's our air and spirit at the very top. That is the male, but base. Whoops. Wrong one. There is our air and spirit down here at the bottom. That is the male, but 1 step down from Ascension. There's the last one of that one. That's the female of the Rico's Soul Reskin. Female version. There's our air and fire. It's the last of the air and fires. Yes, it is. I hate when Windows does that. It just like freaks it out and it can't zoom properly. Some weird glitchy thing with Windows. So that is the, I believe, the male, or one step down. There is the dual air female, one step down. There's the air and fire raid armor, which I believe was number 5. Nope, of course not, it's number 4. Nope, it's not number 4. The crap. Oh, number 3, that's right, I'm sorry. It did that weird glitchy thing again. I don't know why it does that. Just randomly goes weird on me. There's the air and fire, the one right below it, number 4, I think. Yes. That's the base of that one. There's the air and water at the bottom, but that's the female version. Air and earth raid armor, which I think was that one. Good guess this time. Because I really am guessing half the time on these because there's so many of them. Can never keep track until I've gone through it like 6 times. Then I go, oh yeah, that's number 4, or that's number 3. I'd remember at that point. So this is the female of that one. Okay, we'll move over. That is our seasonal air earth. Yeah, that's the raid. I did it again. That is the female. That is our very last one, I think, of this one, which is our Oxen Bulwark Barbarian Keeper reskin. There's the air and spirit here at the bottom. That is the female, one step down. Air and fire. Not that one. Not that one. It's number 3. 3 is the raid armor. I should remember that now. Yeah, 3 is the raid armor. Okay, so that one is the male base. There's our air and water, most likely fusion, which is here in the middle. That's the female version of that one. There's that random air and water at the bottom. Air and water fusion again. Hey Jokers, welcome. Or Joker's Dream, rather. That's that one. Air and fire raid armor, which is number 3, now that I remember. That is the female version of that one, but one step down. Ascension, I hadn't gotten that one yet. And there is the female base. Whoops, did I? Oh, sorry. I hope I changed that letter to an F, because it is the female version. There we go. And there's our air and fire number 5. He asks questioningly. Yeah, that's the female. Air and earth. Yep, that's that one. That's the female of that one. So that's the last of that one's armors. There's our base of our air and air. That is the male base, I think. Looks like it. There's the air and water fusion armor. Or at least what I think is the fusion armor. Doing pretty well. How you doing? No. Did it again. Number 7. Yeah, this is number 7's base for the male. There's the random air water at the bottom. Male base. Air and earth. Base of the female. There is the air and spirit. Male base, I think. Air and fire. Number 6. Number 5? Yeah, number 5. Okay. I was going to say 6, but 6 is air and earth. That is the male base of that one. Air and water fusion. That's the male base of that one. I just keep calling it fusion because that's the most likely explanation for it. That is the female base of that one, so that's the last one of that armor. The armors, anyway. There's our dual air female base. And there's our female base of the random air and water at the end. And, oh, I'm sorry, that's actually evolution 1. I skipped one. I will in just a minute when I start assembling the armors, yep. There's the female base of that one. There's the air and fire number 5, I believe. Yep. That's the female of that one. And there's a head. I want to just make sure I haven't missed anything here. So we've got 6 of that one, 6 of that one, 6 of that one. Yeah, it's looking good. I think I've got them all. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any here along the lines. I'm missing that one though, unless I named it wrong, which is entirely possible. I have done it before. It's also possible it's just later on in the images. Or not. Oh, whatever. I probably just labeled it wrong or something. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it though. I'm not using that one anyway. I'll be using the fully ascended version. Anyway, let's close you. Back into here. So this is... Oh, actually, no, I didn't miss one. It's right there. I'm just blind. I may have renamed the wrong one. Air and fire. I think it was this one. I think I did rename the wrong one. I did. That's the wrong one. That's not the right one there. Let me copy that. So that's actually armor 11. No, hang on. I must have renamed a couple of them wrong then, because I've got more than one wrong here. Yeah, that's the fusion armor. That was my problem. That's actually the fusion armor, which would be number 8. There we go. That's better. Now let's close you again. So I did the air fire right here, I think, wrong. Yeah, that's the wrong one. That's actually down here. So that one needs to be, let's rename that one. Armor 11. Water. Female base. And then the last one, which I mislabeled, which is this one right here, is the last one I'm missing. Okay, there we go. Now I've got them all. So I should have a total of 66 armors. And I do. Perfect. Okay, cool. Now I can move on to the heads, which is what I was trying to do before I screwed myself up. Okay, armor 3 I believe is our raid armor. Yes, it is. That is the air and fire version of it. So if we zoom in here, actually no, wait, hang on. Yeah, no, this is the fire one. Sorry, this is the earth one. I'm looking at the wrong armor. It's number 6. That one right there. Almost got it wrong. That's the air and earth head, not the air and fire head. That's the air and fire head. Immediately afterwards, how convenient. Which is number 3. And then we have the air and water at the very bottom. That's an easy one to spot because it's the kind of the odd one out that doesn't really seem to fit anywhere. There's our cape, which you can kind of see if I zoom in there. It's kind of a cool looking cape. It's kind of more simple. I kind of like the more simple ones personally. That's cape. And then the next 2 images usually afterward are the images. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to go to here. So those 3 there, we're going to put in their own little folder here called cape. Ta-da. Then we're going to get into pets. So I'm just going to create myself a folder right now and call it pets, and I'll sort them out in just a minute. Because this is one of the pets. They actually look like a bullfrog, kind of, with like these weird like spiky wing things. I don't know. Kind of looks like a frog though, or like maybe like a salamander. I don't know. Maybe it is a salamander. I'm not sure, but that's what it kind of looks like anyway. So we got 77. Whoops. We got 72. 72, 75. Drop those in here. Get them out of the way. Whoops. Clicked on the wrong one. Then we got. I'm just trying to get the pets out of here. 78. 78 and 79. Okay. Then we have 82 and 83. I'm doing them 2 by 2 apparently. 82 and 83. That's a picture. You can kind of see what they look like. I guess it kind of does look a bit like a salamander, sort of, but I don't know. Got 85. 87, 80, okay, so 85 and then 87 to 85 and 87 to 98. 85 and 87 to 98. I'm going to move them all at once. Just get them out of my way. Okay. Next up is going to be a ring. There's going to be more pets though. 102. Looks like 102 is the last one. Yep, okay, cool. 102 is the last one. So 102. So there should be 20, yeah, perfect, 20 images, perfect. Got the pets out of the way. Okay, so now we'll go back to the heads. So that's our fusion armor, which is right here. That's our air and spirit at the very top. That's the reskin. That's our air and earth seasonal, or what I think is the seasonal anyway. I keep saying that, but I'm not 100% sure it is. Most likely is. Air and fire number 4, I believe. Yep, with the glitchy graphical glitchiness there. There's the air and fire right below it, which was number 5. Yes. Perfect. So I selected the wrong one. I was like, why does it not look like it? Never mind, I just clicked on the wrong one. Clicked on the one step down from Ascension instead of the Ascended version. There's our dual air, which is number 10. Air and spirit at the bottom. Air and water at the very top. That's the reskin of Rico's soul. Now we have ring and amulets. Okay, so this one I'm going to assume is going to go with that air and fire raid armor, which should be number 3, I believe. Because it looks just like the front of that head. You can see right there. Looks just like it. So that's the ring for that one. I'm going to see if I can find the earth version of it, or the earth one. There it is right there. There's the air and earth one. Where'd it go? Am I blind? Oh, I went right past it, no wonder. Because it looks just like the head on that one instead. So that's kind of more of that greenish tinge to it. So that's this one here, which is number 103. Get that one out of the way really quick, because they are going to look identical, because the armors do. Back to here again. This is the Oxen Bulwark reskin number 2 here at the top. That's the ring for it, because it looks just like the ring for the original. And I'm going to get the amulet for it really quick, which is right there, which is 107. Might as well get that out of the way because it's the exact same armor, exact same look and feel. This is the bottom guy that has that star in the middle of the chest. The random armor that doesn't really seem to fit anywhere. That one, I'm not sure. That one might be our air and fire seasonal, maybe. Let me look here. Oh, I might go with this one actually. Yeah, it has the same centerpiece on the belt. Has the same sort of like ribbon-looking things coming around there. Ribbons at the top of the shoulder plates. Yeah, I think it's this one. Looks like it. We're going to call it that one, unless I come along with something that looks much more obvious. How long have I been doing this? Just over 3.5 years, I think. It's right around there anyway. I think my first was January. My first quote-unquote official was January of 2018, I think. There's an amulet for one of the identical looking raid armors. I think it's this one. No, that's gonna be the air and earth one. The air and fire one, number 3, I think was this one. Yeah, it kind of matches up better with this color scheme, better than that one. Okay, so this is 105. So that is the amulet for that one, and I'm going to grab the air and earth while I'm at it, because it should look essentially exactly the same other than the color scheme, and it's right next to it, immediately afterwards. That's handy. Air and fire number 4. Oops, number 3, sorry, I did it again. Do you play the game? Yes, I do. I've been playing it since 2014. I started in June of 2014. Actually, sorry, that was the air and fire I just did, right? Yeah, I need the air and earth. Duh. And of course I click on the wrong one. Par for the course for me, I keep screwing it up. Okay, yeah, that is better. That one does match better with that one. Okay, so that's number 106. Yeah, a lot of people have actually asked me about that, like how I kind of got started doing this. It was actually not on purpose. The guy who did it before me, I was actually contacting him during one of his live streams because he used to live stream it also. But he's based in, I want to say he's based in New Zealand. It's either New Zealand or Australia. It's one of the two. But because of the time zone difference, because he's in Australia, his early morning was my afternoon the previous day. So I could only catch it on random occasions. But I caught it one time and I asked him a question. I sent him a message and said, hey, I'm trying to find some images for the wiki because I also maintain that. And he gave me kind of some pointers on how to locate the files to actually pull the images out to, you know, make them for the wiki so they looked a little more clean. Is this the right one? I think it is. Looks like it, but it might not be. The color scheme's like identical, but actually no, it is. It's the same as that. The belt's upside down. That's right there. But he said, hey, you know, here's how you get a hold of the files. He says you're going to need to figure out a hex editor. If you don't already know how to use one, good luck. So I just kind of messed with it until I figured it out. And then I eventually was able to start pulling the images out myself, specifically for the wiki. That's actually I think this is probably the dual errors. Sorry, not stop myself mid-sentence. Yeah, it's this one. So I was getting the images just for the purpose of updating the pictures on the wiki so they were a little cleaner looking. And I coincidentally happened to figure out how to get the files that were coming up for the following month just out of complete random chance. And I was like, oh, that's how you get those files. So getting the files, just so everyone knows this if they didn't already know, is not hard. It's really not that difficult. They're on a publicly available server that if you know how to, if you know what the server's address is and the kind of the folder structure they store it in, it's really easy to find. This is the ring that goes with this one. It's really easy to find, but not having, hang on a second, did I label that one wrong? I did. This is not the armor that goes with. Dumb. This actually goes with the fusion armor above it. I gotta relabel this one. This is armor 8, and this is air water. There we go. This one goes with that one. There we go. It's almost screwed myself up. I've done it before. But yeah, so I figured out how to get access to the data, got the hex editor portion of it figured out, and the first few times it took me legitimately hours just to get a complete file. You know, all the images extracted from a complete file. I've, you know, found out other ways that are much faster since then, of course, but back then it was a painful, slow process. Very, very painful and slow. This does not look right. I don't see that particular kind of color scheme anywhere on this armor. I'm going to say it does not go with that one. Let's try, let me think. I was thinking it was the air and spirit, but maybe it isn't. It's not the dual air. It's not the fusion armor, I don't think. Oh, maybe not. Hang on. I may have labeled that one wrong too. Yeah, that doesn't go with that one either. Okay, I gotta step back a second here. Oh, I hate when you do that, Windows. Knock it off. This is actually, I think, the one that goes with. That one I was just looking at a second ago. This one right here, I think, actually goes with the air and spirit, now that I've looked at it a second time. Move. Thank you. Yeah, it definitely looks like it belongs with this one more. Because, of course, it's an air ring regardless, but it has to kind of match the color scheme, sort of. And this kind of matches up with that a little bit better. It has kind of these multiple little, like, spikes coming out of it, and if you look at the shield, it has those, the head has those. It looks like it matches up with this one better anyway, so I'm going to relabel this one. So this one is not going to be the air and water ring. This is going to be the air and spirit ring right below it. I was only off by one. I'll get there eventually, I swear. This one I think goes with the fusion armor. This one here I'm looking at on the right. Because this looks definitely more along the lines of that color scheme, like that golden kind of bit in the middle there. Definitely looks like it matches up better. And some of these are really, really easy. Some of them are just they're overcomplicated. They take too long to figure out. So some of them are, like I said, dead obvious. Like, oh, that goes with this one. Other ones are like, I don't know, it could go with that one, it could go with this one. I'm not really sure. So you kind of have to look them over and kind of weigh your options of which one it looks like more than the others. Okay, so this is Air and Fire. I want to say this is Air and Fire number 5. Yep, that's that one. That's a pretty obvious one because it looks like the same exact color scheme. A little bit different kind of layout of the colors like this, but these kind of blue little diamond shapes are all over the place in there, along with the same kind of color schemes. Okay, so that's the amulet for that one. And then we have this is the reskin of the Rico Soul. Looks just like the original ring. That's an easy one. And while I'm at it, I'll get the amulet for it too. That's the ring. And 122 is the amulet. Figured I'll just grab it while I'm at it. Okay, just a few more left. This one is the Air and Fire. It's number 3, I want to say. Nope, of course not. It's number 4. Yeah, nope, it's not number 4 either. What the crap? Oh, I went right into number 5. It is number 4. Looks just like the shield. Okay, I knew I'd seen it. I was just clicking on the wrong armor over and over again. Amulet. Here we go. We're going to move over to the next one. That one is also the Air and Water. I'm just going to say it is because it looks enough like the ring. Might as well match it up. Amulet. That is... that might be the dual air. Hard to say. Might not be though. It kind of looks like it. I'm looking for that kind of glowing bit in the middle there. I'm not really seeing it on this armor anywhere, but it does have a very similar color scheme. I'm not sure. I'm going to come back to that one. I want to look at the other stuff really quick first. So that's one of the crafting materials. Looks like some goggles. There is the Air and Spirit, I think. Yeah, looks like the shield. That's the Air and Spirit amulet, number 120. Okay. And then the last one here, one of the last ones, that is definitely the Air and Air, because it looks just like the armor. It's got the same sort of spikes as the shoulder. That's an easy one. So that is the amulet for that one. And we have just a few more left. There's crafting material, and there is the only remaining. So this is crafting material. We're going to do SF60, material 1. And this is material 2. Hey, Chameleon, welcome. Good to see you. And welcome, Crimson. So this one is the only one left. Which, wait a minute, I think I labeled something wrong here. I did. That one is not the amulet. That's image 120. Put it back where it was. This is the amulet. I labeled the wrong one. Okay, so the only one I have left is this Air and Spirit. Or sorry, not this Air and Spirit. Let me look. So I've got that one done. That one done. Oh, Peyton, welcome. Good to see you. Doing well. How are you? Let's see, that's that one there. Okay, so it's the Air and Fire right here. This one does not really look like that, if I'm being honest. But maybe it is, and I just didn't see it initially. Doing well. Good. Good to hear. It does not look substantially like this armor. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Because none of the kind of little glowing bits in the weapon. But I'm not really seeing that shape on here anywhere. Again, maybe I'm just missing it, but I don't see it. I mean, I kind of see that glowing part right there on the hilt of the weapon, but not really anywhere else. I guess it kind of has to go with it, because there's not really anything else that can go with it. So we're going to use that one as our last option. So Air and Fire number 4. Yeah. So we're going to call it that one, because there's not really anything else it can go with. Ta-da! Okay, done with that. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Okay, so now we're going to go into here. Let's quickly sort through the pets. What I think are the primals versus the normals, regulars, whatever. So we have those two. So this one here and that one there are the two tier 5s. So I'm going to say this one is the primal, so 78 is tier 5P. I labeled the wrong one. Of course I did. 88, there we go. Tier 5P. And I'm going to say 90 is tier 4. Oops, criminy. Fingers are not my friend today. Holy cow. Okay, so 91 is tier 3. Whoops, went too far. 95 is tier 2. And 94 is tier 1. That's what it looks like to me anyway. Let me just go through these really quick again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only difference between 4 and 5 is the size of it. It kind of gets a little bigger, which is usually the case, or they have more of a design on them. But if I zoom in on the face, that is the tier 5. There's kind of these like eyebrow looking things. If I go to tier 4, they're still there, but there's not quite as much embellishment on the head. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me anyway. I could be wrong, but it looks like that to me. There's more kind of the dots on the tier 5 version. Anyway, so that's that one. Now we got to go back and find the pictures for the regular ones. So there's 85. So 85 is tier 5 regular. And 87 is tier 4 regular. 89 is tier 3 regular. And 93 is tier 2. And 92 is tier 1. There we go. There's our pets sorted out. Okay. Now we're going to take all of these images here. Heads, rings, amulets for all of the armors. It's thrilling, isn't it? Go through all these. And move them into my other folder, where I normally save them after I've assembled the rest of the stuff on the sheet. Copy and paste. There we go. Okay, so now we can go into here again. And we're going to start assembling these one by one by one. So male, male, male. Edit. Give that a second to open. Actually, I'm going to edit 6 while I'm at it too, because I got 11 here in total to do anyway. So 6, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Cool. Alright, so this one is, again, the exact same armor as Rico's Soul, just recolored. Classical reskin. Same exact armor in every way, just a different color palette. Words, English, stuff. I'll line that up a little bit there. It kind of overhangs a little bit, but I don't want to make it look like the chin's sticking out too far. Legs. Not sure what I feel about the color scheme on this one. I like it better than the original a little bit, but I don't know. The original one was Air and Fire, if memory serves. It was one of those months where we had 3 raids, and it was the off raid that had the off elements instead of the usual adjacent. I think it was, I want to say it was Fire Month, so it was Fire Air instead of the usual Fire Spirit, Fire Water combos. So this one is a reskin of that. So there's that armor without anything added to it, so you can see it, because the shields, we frequently cover them up entirely, to where you can't see most of that entire side of the armor. Because this shield is humongous. Covers up almost that whole side. So we go to here, about right there. And then we got the humongo weapon. I remember this being one of the biggest armors, width-wise anyway, from side to side, that I'd seen in quite a while. The only one that was wider, I think, was the Slipstream Scale Guard, which was a very early Air and Water seasonal exclusive. It was the biggest one we'd had really in the game to that point, or since. But this one's darn close. From the from side to side, I mean, not from top to bottom, but from side to side. Okay, and there is that one. Ta-da. We're about 46 minutes in, so pretty much on track, actually. So this one is 310. Actually, that's not as wide as I remember. I thought it was wider than that. Okay, I've got to go to here, to here, to here. Armor 1. There's one down. I'm trying to remember what this armor was originally. I think it was a combination of the Smog-Bound Blade, which was an early raid armor. I think it was Air and Fire originally. But it uses the head of a fusion armor called the Ebon Sky Liege. Liege, like my liege, my lord. And I think it uses the weapon and the shield from another armor entirely. But the the armor, or no, sorry, the armor and the head are from the Ebon Sky Liege, and the weapon and shield are from a different armor. That's right, I'm thinking of a different armor entirely. But there was another one that had the Smog-Bound Blade part of it as well. This one I don't think was it. This one's the Ebon Sky Liege, but it has the head and armor of the Ebon Sky Liege, but the weapon and shield of something else entirely. So this is technically the 4th version of this armor, if you count the original kind of combo reskin, which was called the Oxen Bulwark, which I think was Fire Air. It was a war armor. Let me see. There we go. Looking for the weapon. Just about cut that off. Drop that in place right about there. Clean up that wrist a little bit. Kind of blend it into the original one that's behind it. Take a little off the edge of that handle so I can blend in the rest of the handle over here. Make it look a little more seamless. Because this handle's tiny, it doesn't really stick out beyond the hand much, but I want to make it blend in nicely. Oops. Make it blend in nicely so you can't really even tell it's there. There we go. Nice. Right about there. In case you're wondering what I'm looking at, I'm looking right here. For those of you who haven't seen my streams before, I try to get this zoom about the same on every armor. So the sizes are all roughly the same. Mostly top to bottom sizes, because I want to make the images about the same across the board. 270. That one's darn near square. Cool. Armor 2. Alright. No, I didn't, so I don't want to save it. Air Fire, raid armor number 1, or actually raid armor number 2. This is just of this particular look, raid armor number 1, because the other Air and Earth looks identical other than the color scheme. We got the body. How many people we got online right now? 11. Oh, cool. I didn't know how many I was going to have because doing it during the week is not always really ideal. But I asked around what people thought about me waiting until after the raid was over this weekend and doing it after the raid was over on Global, or doing it sometime during the week. And the majority of the people I talked to said they would like to see it earlier, given the option. But, you know, it's really up to me. But most of the opinions I got were sooner the better. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it sooner then. So I blocked out some time. I was originally going to do it last night, and real life decided to throw a curveball, and I just had too much going on and couldn't break free long enough to sit down and do this, because this is about a 2-hour long process on average, and I didn't have 2 hours. By the time I actually sat down and was able to do this, it was an hour, almost an hour and a half later than I'd planned, and I was like, no, there's no way. I'd be up until almost midnight doing just this. And I have work in the morning, so I definitely can't do that. So I just decided to hold off until now, and I could actually devote the time to sitting down and actually doing it. Just had too much going on yesterday to be able to sit down. So tonight worked better, all in all. That arm actually blends in nicely. I don't even need to touch that, really, other than clean up that little edge right there. Yeah, I don't even need to blend that in. Cool. Alright, and then we have the handle, which is over here. The rest of the hilt. Drop that back behind Mr. Hand here. About like so. Ta-da! There's that one. That's raid armor number 1 of this look. Air and fire in particular. There we go. And we got about 255. That might be square too. Yeah, it is. Cool. Makes that easy. Armor 3, air fire. And now we got air fire number 2, which is, I think, probably going to be our seasonal. It's entirely possible this could be a war, though. I don't know for sure. It's hard to tell with the our war armors, because it's not always clear which is going to be a seasonal versus an exclusive. Seasonal versus a war armor. Raid armors are always easy because they look more or less just like the raid bosses, but the raid armors, the war armors versus seasonal armors, are not always as easy to spot. Some of them are reskins, so like the Air and Spirit, for example, that's obviously going to be a war, because it's very, very rare that they use reskins for seasonals. They have on occasion in the past, but they're trying their best to not do that anymore. Even though, truthfully, the last dual fire did look an awful lot like the fire and fire right before it, if I'm being honest. I did point that out to them, and they actually did redesign it somewhat, but it still ended up looking an awful lot like it. So it wasn't, at least in my opinion, much of a reskin, or much of a change. You might as well just called it a reskin, because it was just a slight restyling of the original armor. I didn't grab the shield. Oops, that's fine. I can do this first. They usually do the shield first and the weapon second, but oh well, that's fine. It works. Delete some of that extra so I can blend that one in. There we go. I need to get the shield now. There it is. But yeah, I think this one is probably going to be the seasonal. Can't guarantee it, of course, but I think so. I think it'll be. Most likely, anyway. Like about like that. And we get the rest of that handle, wherever the hell you are. There it is. Big old long handle on this one. More like a spear than a sword. And blend you in right about there. It's good. Even though you can't see the majority of that handle, I know it's there, and it would bother me if I left it out. Even though no one else would probably even notice. I would know, and that's enough. That's enough for me to want to fix it. Okay. That's a pretty wide armor, actually, 300. 300 pixels. Much taller than it is wide, which is actually fairly normal. Most of the time they are. Armor 4? Yeah. Okay. Air fire number 3. So like I said, it's hard to say which of these two armors is going to be war armor versus a seasonal. I could have it backwards. This one could be the seasonal and the other one the war. I don't honestly know. But that's just what I'm thinking at this point. There's always, you know, 1 month where it's like, oh yeah, this is obviously war and this is obviously, you know, seasonal, but it's not always as easy to tell. Like this one's entirely possible. This could be a seasonal and the other one's a war. But the Air and Spirit, it's obvious because one of them's a reskin and one of them's new. So the new one's going to be a seasonal, most likely. Very rare that they would make a reskin seasonal. But that's also a relatively recent armor. It's kind of strange they would do another reskin of it so quickly after the last one. Because the last one was in Fire Month, I think. It was a Fire and Spirit War armor. Just strange that they would do it that soon after. They've done that before, but it hasn't been recently. Okay, so there is that one. So you can kind of see it before I add anything else to it. Shield. There it is. At the very top. Drop this one down on top of here. Big old huge shield. Covers up almost that entire arm. Now we got this big old massive weapon. This one, I've mentioned this in prior live streams, but this armor has a very kind of retro feel to it. Like it's kind of more angular, if that makes sense. It's not quite as smooth as some of the other ones are. It still looks, good, but it looks kind of more. The only way I can describe it is angular. It looks more like the lines are a little harder edged than the other ones. Like the Rico Soul reskin, for example, is very smooth and kind of rounded edges and looks nice. This one has kind of more of a just has sharper edges, I guess. Doesn't have the kind of blending that you see like on a lot of the other ones. Like the kind of fuzzy areas around the outside edges. Maybe that's why I'm saying that, but it looks almost like they have two different groups of artists doing these, and this one is from the other group that doesn't normally do it. I did get confirmation actually from Deca a while back, a few months ago, that they are in fact using an old team that used to design armors back in like the Epic and Dragonforge days, so that's why some of the armors look reminiscent of the older armors, while other armors look more kind of newish, so like more recent, I should say. So that's the reason why some of them look a little different from the rest, and why there's like one or two armors in a given month that just don't quite look the same as the rest. Okay, did I just hang on a second? I gotta go back here again. I think I just did this wrong. I think it's a seasonal design. Yeah, I'm thinking it probably is, but I have no way to guarantee it. Do I work with Deca? Yes. Do I work for Deca? No. To make that clear, in case there's any confusion. Okay, I just want to make sure I hadn't labeled that one wrong. Okay, that is far. Okay. All right, sorry. I just lost track of what I was doing there for a second. I was making sure I hadn't renamed something wrong, because I thought for a second I renamed number 5 as number 4. And I just wanted to make sure I hadn't somehow screwed myself up. Thayer Salfredo. Sorry, I'm not sure. I'm probably massacring your name. But I just was looking at the name there, trying to figure out what that was spelling. Here's the Air and Earth raid armor. Again, same design as the last one. That's Air and Fire, which I think is kind of a smart idea, because that way you're only coming up with one design. You just change the color scheme. But at the same time, for some people would probably see it as kind of being a bit more lazy, because it's the same design, just a different color scheme. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of them having, if they have to have 3 bosses in the same month, doing the same design would save a ton of time. And then you're only just coming up with, color schemes instead of having to come up with an entirely new armor design. Entirely new assets is much cheaper to reuse assets than it is to come up with entirely new ones. And they do pay for the designs from the art team. So having them just redesign an existing armor is cheaper, which is why we get, reskins. Instead of entirely new armors every single month, reskins are cheaper because they're literally just changing the color scheme of a given armor. And it's significantly cheaper to go that route than to create an entirely new design. Oh, Thayer S. Alfredo, okay. Oh, got it. Okay, cool. A name you just grew fond of. Makes sense. Cool. Makes sense. I just wasn't sure if I was massacring it or not. But Thayer S. Alfredo makes sense. Okay. Kind of like my name. My name kind of evolved from a nickname that I had as a kid, and it kind of morphed into what it is now. It originally was Blando Calrissian. For those of you who are Star Wars fans, that should be a familiar name. But that name itself evolved from a nickname I got from my older brother when I was much, much younger. I was probably 13 or something when it happened, when he gave me that nickname. I don't even honestly remember where it came from. But it was exactly the same, but it was B-R-A-N-D-O instead of B-L-A-N-D-O. So that just kind of became my nickname for the longest time. And then my wife said, no, I think it should be more like Blando. I was like, what? Blando? What do you mean Blando? She's, like Blando Calrissian? I went, oh, I like that. And it stuck. That's what I've used ever since. One more click. There we go. Trying to zoom out just the same extent I do with all the other ones, and I wasn't quite getting there. Okay. Right about to there. And this one is, again, I think about square. Yep, pretty darn close. Actually, I can do that 255. There we go. Much better. Okay, armor number 6. Okay, now, moving on to the last 5. Here, we're going to go to number 7, number 8, 9, 10, and 11. Get those to load up. Okay, so this one is number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, got it. About an hour and 2 minutes. Looking pretty good, pretty much on track with what I would normally be at this point. I'm just not 100% sure about my ring and amulet sets, specifically that last one I looked on, the air and fire. I'm not 100% sure that's right. It probably is. It just looks wrong to me for some reason, but I don't really see where it would fit with any other armor. Had that happen to me actually several months ago with the Disavowed Commander. I think it was a dual Earth from 3 or 4 cycles ago. The ring and amulet set did not look like it belonged at all. Yeah, nicknames are fun. But yeah, the ring and amulet set for that armor did not look like it belonged with that. Like the amulet kind of did, but the ring did not, if I remember right. So I looked at it and went, it doesn't really go with anything else, so I guess it has to go with this one. The ring was okay. The shield was like, I don't get this. It doesn't look right. I think it was the ring was okay and the shield was wrong. Or the amulet was okay and the ring was wrong. Something like that anyway. But it didn't look right. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it has to go with this one. It doesn't really belong anywhere else. There's that armor. That's the Air and Earth seasonal, I'm pretty sure. And it has kind of this more fire look to it, which is weird, but that's the way they've been lately. It's definitely Air and Earth, though. Got like these earth blocks everywhere, and then the air swirls and stuff. So it's definitely Air and Earth, but does not look distinctly Air and Earth to me. Whoops, I meant to do another layer. Just getting back into the loop, is there anything I can find, more details of the current anniversary event other than what's posted on Reddit? Not really. At this point, it's mostly just quests that you can do. Like you can do farming of the epic stages on the world map. Every epic stage except the Kingdom of Darkness, of course, because there's never anything there other than just the default bosses that are there. Most people use Haunted Citadel just to basically just farm that stage over and over again, looking for the boss that just randomly spawns, and making sure you hit it with a special attack. That's about all you can do right now. There will be more of the same materials, basically, in the milestones, in the raid, war, arena, etc., etc. It will be around for a while. But that's really all there is at this point. Nobody really knows much else yet. I do have the stats, of course. I need to do the stat sheets at some point, but as of right now, not really, no. Not really much else is known, unfortunately. That's going to go right about there, roughly. This is a tall armor, 265. Yeah, significantly taller than it is wide, which is weird. That is not common. Out there. Okay. Armor 7. But roughly every June, mid to late June, they start an anniversary event like this. So a lot of them are very similar. You purchase the base armor in the limited shop with the materials you get from the milestones. You combine it with materials, or combine it with an armor you also get from the limited shop with usually a different kind of materials, or sometimes the same. And then you just tier the armor up, kind of like the epic boss armors. And This particular time around, there's two. There's an air and earth. There's an air and spirit. Or excuse me, earth and air, earth and spirit. And then if you get both up to T10, I think you can combine them to get a star metal armor, something like that. But I don't know if anybody's actually done like an in-depth analysis of like what all you would need to actually have T10 of each. I haven't seen it yet anyway. There might be one, but I used to do guides like that and kind of to help people to kind of get them an idea of what they would need to do, but people usually beat me to it, so I just stopped doing it. Somebody else has already done it usually by the time I get around to making my own kind of version of it, so I just stopped bothering. But yeah, that's about all there is really that's known at this point. Is you farm epic stages to get the rare spawn bosses, do the quests, get as far in the quest as you can. Most people have gotten to like stage 2 or to quest 2 or quest 3 at this point, I think. I just started on quest 1 earlier today because I haven't had time. I probably won't have time to do much really with it. I almost never do. But I would recommend you get to at least quest 3 if you can before the raid starts, because some of the materials I think that you'll get from the milestones will be part of that quest. I think it's like 700 of a particular material, something like that. And you have to get the milestones to, you'll get them in the milestones, I mean, rather. There's that armor. I like the look of that armor. That's a cool looking armor. It's air and water, but it has kind of these kind of yellowish, goldish accents on it. I like it. It's a cool armor, but it's a fusion, most likely so. Unless you're exceptionally lucky and or have a ton of gems to waste, it's rare that you would probably ever get it. Because I've tried a few of these on my alternate accounts just for fun, because 200, 400 gems on those is not that big of a deal because they're all free gems from either videos or from logging in or whatever, or milestones. So I'm not too concerned about it because they're just alternates I play around with anyway. But I'd actually never spent a single gem on chests otherwise on my main accounts. I have technically 3 main accounts, but I don't ever spend the gems on those on chests. I save them for the eventual, run/push, whatever term you prefer. I always try to save them for those, so that way I know I have them for, like, that next milestone in the war or the raid or whatever. So, anyway, that's just my take on it. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the stat sheets for the event armors here, probably, if I can, tonight. If not, it'll be sometime tomorrow. Just so that people have an idea of what the stats will be like overall for the armors, because no one really has any stats on the rings and amulet sets yet, which I do have. I just haven't had a chance to put anything together. But yeah, so I'll have that eventually. Armor 8. Armor number 9 is the air and spirit, and then 10 is going to be our dual air, which I'm sure a lot of you are probably waiting to see what that looks like. But we have only one more armor, and we'll be there. We're getting there, slowly but surely. And I did apologize to a few of my friends in EU, because this stream started at 4 a.m. Central European Time, or CEST, where most of the people in Europe, not everybody obviously, but most of them are. And so that would have been 4:30 in the morning for them. And I was like, I'm sorry, this is really the only time I can do it, otherwise I'm waiting until Sunday. And people said they wanted to see this sooner, so doing it now instead. That is a cool looking armor too. I like the look of that one. I like these kind of shoulder plates, these pauldrons. They're cool looking. Okay, shield, where are you at? There it is. Kind of a small shield for this armor though, I gotta say. Going strong, 6:45. Yeah, I know. You and I talked about that already, because you're not in Central European Time. You're an hour later, so it's only 5:30 a.m. for you when I started. But for the vast majority of everybody else that's in, like, the Netherlands or France or Germany or whatever, they're going to be on an hour earlier than you, so it would have been 4:30 a.m. when I started this for them. Luckily, you're in Finland, though, so it's not so bad for you. You're an hour later. Works out better. Alright. And last but not least, we got that little doohickey right there. Fills that one out nicely. I do like the look of that armor. That's a cool looking armor. I especially like kind of the gold, kind of the glinting colors off of that top kind of spike. I do like air spirit armors though in general though, so that's not really too much of a surprise. This is also going to be a wide armor, I know already. I can tell by looking at it. Okay, so how wide are you? Yeah, 300, almost on the nose. Cool. Armor 10. Whoops, 9, sorry. Just talking about the 10th armor being the dual air. Here's our dual air. Those of you who are waiting to see it and or see it assembled, here it is. This room is hotter than the surface of the sun. This, I can't stand this. We're in a heat wave right now, much earlier in the year than we normally would be. I can never remember the translation into Celsius, but it was 101 today in Fahrenheit. For those of you who know Fahrenheit, that's not comfortable. And we usually don't get into that kind of temperature range until sometime in July. Like after Independence Day usually here in the US, but nope, this time we got a heat wave like 2 weeks early, 2 to 3 weeks early, and it's ridiculously hot outside. It's like, it's still in the 90s right now, and it's like 9:48. It's almost 10 p.m. here, and it's still stupidly hot outside. So the room I'm in unfortunately doesn't get good ventilation, so it kind of always stays warm. Man, that's a cool looking armor. These shoulder pauldrons, these shoulder plates are huge. That's cool looking. I like that. That's our dual air. And then we have, again, this massive shield, which is going to cover up almost all of that side, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's going to go right about there. Actually, that's not that bad. It doesn't cover up that much. Cool. Yeah, this year is going to be a hot one. It's a lot hotter than it usually is this time of year. I have a couple of friends who live in Arizona, and it's already over 120. Yeah, this is a cool looking exclusive. I agree. But yeah, it's already stupidly hot here. It should not be this hot this early. I mean, 90s, okay, fine, maybe, but not over 100 for a week straight. It's going to be 100 here for like 8 or 9 days in a row, which I am not okay with. I just find that personally offensive. There's that one. That's cool looking armor. So the shoulders and the shield are huge, and then the weapon seems kind of puny, but it's still very cool looking. I just think the weapon's kind of small by comparison to the rest of the armor. But maybe that's just me. Your mileage may vary. I don't know what other people, of course, are going to think of this. I think it is still a cool looking armor. That just seems like a small weapon to me. Okay, 255. This one's almost perfectly square, too. Whoops. That's weird. I haven't had that many armors that were perfectly square in a row. This is 10. Okay, last but not least, we have our final random armor. Doesn't really seem to fit anywhere. Same thing happened when the Decatron came around, because it was an air and water armor in like Fire Month or something. So this is obviously not an anniversary armor, because we're in anniversary month right now. I'm thinking it's probably the Player of the Month or something award. That's just a guess, but it's definitely an interesting looking armor for sure. It has like these stars and this kind of cartoony smiley face. I don't know. I mean, it's cool looking armor and everything. I just don't understand what it's for, what the plan is for it. It just looks, I don't know, maybe it just looks goofy to me. Maybe that's just me, but it looks odd. It has like these stars and kind of looks like it has like clouds on the shield and these like air-looking horns and stuff. Just a very odd-looking armor. The weapon was underwhelming, yeah. Yep. It is unfortunately very underwhelming. Very cool looking armor in general, though. Just an odd choice on the weapon size. Maybe twice that long or twice the thickness or something, but that just seemed weird to me. It seemed kind of small. This looks almost like some kind of like wizard, I guess is the best way to describe it. Some kind of like fantasy or not fantasy, like cartoony wizard, like a cloud wizard or something. I don't know. I don't know how you describe it, but there's the armor, and then I put the shield over like so, which is a cool looking shield, given that. But this is just kind of the odd armor out. It doesn't really seem to fit anywhere. Then it has these kind of horns on the weapon, with like a candy cane with a little cloud on the end of it. Weapon. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't necessarily need to, though, but it just is a very odd choice, I guess is the best way to describe it. Okay, and the weapon is going to go back here, right about like so. There's that. Ta-da. You're one of the few people that does. I lost all desire to do any grinding in this game like 2 years ago. Largely because I just don't have the time to grind anymore, but also because I just really don't like it. I really do not enjoy it. Right about there. Armor 11. And done. Okay. Now, I gotta go and look at my previous datamine images. Is that that one is the one I wanted. Okay, perfect. This is one of the 6 armors in it, because this is the one that had the 2 event armors, this one right here, and then that one right there. I just wanted to check on the width of the actual sheet to use that as my reference. 1700. So we're gonna do a new 1700. Let's do it the same size. I may not need all this space, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Put you in the background. Draw myself a nice little square here. Start at the 350 mark-ish. About there. Down to about the 700-ish area. There we go. Now, we can go to here and go back to my folder where everything got placed. So we have our air and water, very first one. Right about there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see a little better. Air and spirit, which is our second reskin, and I may, depending on how much room I need, I may bunch these up a little closer to each other, but for now I'm just going to place them where they are and see how it comes out. Because these raid armors are kind of small. They're not as big. Okay, there's that one. Then our air and fire, which I think is probably a seasonal, but could be a war. Hard to say. Yeah, I might be okay with size-wise. Well, maybe not. Forgot how huge this one is. I might still be okay, though, because the raid armor is kind of small. Yep, good to go. Sweet. Okay, then I'll probably just put the other ones kind of staggered below here, in between the other two, the other set, like this. Kind of. Just see how that looks when I'm done. There's our air and water fusion armor. Air and spirit. That's a big one too. Most of my big ones are actually in the bottom row, except for this one here and this one here. Okay, dual air. Right about there. And air and water at the very end over here. This random one by itself. That's about right there. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at it to see how it looks. I may have to slide these over, kind of to center it a bit better. That looks good right there. So there we go. So I'm going to get the rings and amulets on here and the elements, and then I'm going to give everyone my predictions, so that way if you're hanging out for just that, then you can leave. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm going to get the rings and amulets all placed on here and get that all done. So that's out of the way. So we have our amulet, ring, whoops, ring right there, amulet, and ring. Amulet. crying out loud, stop it. Keep alt-tabbing the wrong window. Amulet. Ring. Again, I'm not sure about that ring. It could be okay, but I'm not 100% sure about it. Maybe I'll look at it once I get them all placed out here, and maybe I'll spot it and go, oh, there it goes. That's where it belongs. That has happened before in the past. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that it wouldn't happen again. Amulet for you. And ring for you. Tudder. There's that row. Amulet. Ring. I'm trying to get that right up against it without overlapping it. Amulet. Ring. I'm pretty sure I have that one right. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a while. Gonna go get some more sleep. Good on you. Have a good rest of their sleeping cycle, however long that might be. And again, I'm pretty sure on that one too. It looks like it fits. It definitely does not look like that armor, so I'm pretty safe on that one, I think. But this one I'm just not sure about. It just doesn't seem like it kind of fits. But the ring and amulet for the dual water. Again, this one looks just like the shoulder, has the same sort of spike pattern. And the ring has the same spike in the center of it, like the helmet does, and the same kind of spike pattern around the shield and also on the handle of the weapon. And then last but not least, this one's also one of those ones that's just kind of dead obvious. It fits with it. Color scheme matches perfectly. Even the shapes inside of them are exactly the same. Like the star matches the star obviously very well. And then there's this center of the shield, right, or the center of the waist, is that same emblem flipped upside down. So some of them are obvious and easy to spot, but not always. This one is just the one I'm not sure about, but it really is the only one left that doesn't already have something that matches it. So that's that. So my predictions, our first one is air water, that's going to be raid. Air spirit, that's going to be war. Air earth, or excuse me, air fire, this is going to be raid, excuse me. This one I think is probably, now that I've kind of had some discussion about it and looked at it a little more, is probably war. This one is seasonal. This one is raid, air earth. Air earth seasonal, air water fusion, air spirit seasonal, dual air exclusive, and air water, no idea. So that's that. So now I'm going to start placing my elements down here. So we have air and water is 1, 8, and 11. Okay. 1, 8. How far away I moved from that foot. Okay, that's good. Just making sure I'm not getting it too close. And then the last one over here on the bottom right. Whoa, slow down there, Turbo. Right about there. There we go. Now we're going to grab Spirit, which is this one right here. And this one, whoops, right here. Okay, now we can grab Fire, which is this one right here. It's actually these three along the top row. All on the top row, I should say. There's no air fire on the second row, which is strange. It's just the way they came out in the files. That's the size of the files when they originally come out. That's how I determine what they're, or how they're kind of in order. They come out in size from largest to smallest, which is why the crafting materials are always at the very end, right by the ring and amulet sets. And there's the earth. Now I just have to throw down the air. Air and water. Air and spirit. Air and fire. Air and fire. Uno, dos, tres. And then air and earth. Number 1. Air and water. Number 3. air. Oops, I gotta move that one over just a bit more. Do a little air. Oops, criminy, stop doing that. I keep moving my mouse where I don't want it to be. Keep sliding the page on myself without realizing I'm doing it. And then it's too late and it's already moved. Okay. There we go. Ta-da. I'm going to save this really quick. So I don't lose my progress. Okay. So now we are going to... Whoops, I got a thing down there in the bottom I don't want. You do not belong there. Go away. Oh, I moved it from this one on accident. That's what happened. That's why it jumped on me. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, now we're going to draw our text box down here at the bottom, roughly about there. Let's start off with 26. Of course, I made the box way too big, which I do a lot. I'm going to shorten this up a little bit so it's not quite so wide. About like that, and then I'll just delete the excess. And now I'm going to center this puppy as close as I can get it to the middle. So it should be about 850. Right about there. Ta-da! Move it down just a hair. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to here, grab my materials, drop you right here, and then drop you right about here. Okay, now I normally would do the bosses next, but there's 3 of them, and I don't want there to be like, oops, no, don't do that. I selected the boss, thank you. Got boss number 1. I'm going to zoom in here so I can line these up properly. 1, 2, 3, but I kind of want to get them centered somewhat so they're kind of where they should be. There we go. And this time around I'm actually going to put the elements on them because the last 2 months I haven't. That's actually not too far off of center. I kind of surprised myself. Okay, let's get you and kind of put you about there. That works nicely. Okay, cool. Alright, now I need to do one other thing I almost forgot to do again, which is this one we're going to edit. And then we're going to go into here, and we're going to edit this one as well. And I'm going to take this guy here. I'm going to put it behind the armor. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Let's make this 400. And then we will delete the rest of the blank space over here. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think I may have, oops, I think I might be spending a little bit too much time perhaps on this, but you know, it is what it is. That's going to look, let me just swap my backgrounds here so I can kind of see where that lines up. That looks to be about good right there. Let me zoom in a little more. Kind of trying to get it lined up with the shoulders here. Whoops, I did not want to do that. I want to be on this one. So right about there. That actually looks really good with that armor, surprisingly. Not all of them do, but that one looks quite nice, actually. Okay. I'm going to merge you back into one layer. We're going to save as with Kate. And then we're going to move you up here, so it's kind of in the corner. How wide are we here? We are about 290. And we'll just make it 290 square. Actually, I can probably shorten up the length of it by about 260. There we go. Now we'll save it again. Whoops. Save it again. Then we're going to resize you down to about 225. See how that looks. That might still be a little bit too big. Oh, maybe not. Let's look at the actual cape avatar and see how big that is. It actually looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it as it is. Actually, I need to make a new layer. Let's actually go back to here. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to make a new layer here. There we go. That makes it, now I can go right over the top of everything else and it doesn't cover it. Hooray! I'm going to put him right about there. And then I'll take him and put him right about there. And I'll put the little box right above it. Okay, I'm going to go here. Move you over. I made the box too big, I know. I don't care. It's too late now. I'm not going to mess with it. Okay, so that's that. And then we have brain cramp pets. Okay, we have tier 1, and this is where things can get a little bit dicey, because this is wider than the usual sheet that I make. So I probably have some room here, but I'm just worried I'm going to run right up against the sides of the bosses, and I don't want to do that. Is that off? Or is it just me? There we go, that's better. Looked off. I knew there was something off about it, but I wasn't sure. So this should be a little bit above that, like about like that. I'm using the grid that you can kind of see in the background as my reference point. And it usually works out pretty nicely when I do that. And it's going to be almost in the way, but not quite, which is good because I'm probably going to have to move this down. Because there's only 2 rows of pets and I don't need this much length down here really. So I'm probably going to move these all down. Kind of toward the bottom a bit because I don't need this much room. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense to have them. Because there's not really anything that goes here. So I'm probably just going to leave it up a little higher now that I think about it. Okay. Tier 1 of the primal. Trying to line that one up too with the same, vertical alignment as the one above it. I can be a little bit too particular about this sometimes, but I try to get it as close as I can without being too picky. But I kind of like it the way I like it, and that's just how I've always been. So look about like so, and tier 5. There we go. There's our pets. Well, normally there's 2 raids each month, and they're usually adjacent elements. So air, earth, air, water would be the normal case this month. But there's a 3rd raid, so they made 2. They made 2 armors and 2 raid bosses basically look exactly the same. I don't know why, but these are 2 raid bosses. This is air, water, air, fire, air, earth, and then if you go back up to the top here, there's the air, fire raid armor, and then there's the air, earth raid armor. And on the far left is the air water reskin. I did mention it earlier, it might have been before you joined, but I think they probably just did it simply as a cost-saving measure because they do have to pay a team of art people, like an art team, to make everything for them. So maybe it was just a cost-saving measure because it was more expensive to create, 2 entirely new raid bosses when they could just reuse 1. That's just a guess, but I'm figuring it's probably something along those lines, because it is, they do have to pay an art team to make these. So there's the pets. Now I'm going to make another text box below the bosses, but I'm going to put a little space actually in here, so I can put the elements. Whoops! No, don't do that. Move that down. There we go. I'm going to put the elements underneath it this time around. I normally put them on the sides, but there's not really room on the sides of this one. I made that box way too big. I got to make that a little smaller. Way too big. Much better. Okay. I'm thinking I'm also going to make it a little shorter. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so I'm trying to center this again in the middle here roughly. Like about like that. And now I need to get the elements again, so we're going to do fire, which is our middle one. It's right there. Earth is our left-hand one. Kind of trying to get these in the same alignment as well. Can be kind of a pain. And air, water on the far right. There we go. And then we do air, air, and air. Kind of spaced those out a little more than I meant to. Oh well, too late now. It's just going to have to do. I'm not going to mess with getting everything rearranged any more than I already have. But I am going to have to shift this one over a bit more than it is. Kind of trying to center them underneath their individual images. Oops, a little too narrow of a window there. My air and water actually looks pretty good, but I'm going to move it over just a hair. There we go. Okay. So now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need here. Let me see. I've got pets, bosses, armors, rings, amulets, materials, cape. Yep, all done. Cool. All right, so I'm going to be able to definitely shorten this up. I don't need it anywhere near this long. But let me first of all save. And I'm going to now go to the background, fill it in. Kaplonk, kaplonk. There it is. Not too shabby. So now I'm going to do some additional text here, and I'm going to change the size of this to be a bit bigger. I'm going to put this here. We're going to put season 60 air. Oh, good. Glad you were able to glad you're able to join it. It'd be good if my mouth would cooperate, and then I could actually, speak English. Thanks for joining is what I meant to say, and my mouth just would not cooperate. There's that. Now we're going to go here and back down to here. I'm going to do Datamine July 2021. Like so. And then I'm going to switch over to here, and we're going to do, hey Doc, how's it going? Refereeing basketball games. Wow. Well, you're actually just coming in for the tail end of it. This is first row, sixth armor actually, because there's 6 on that row. Almost forgot. Yeah, I'm actually just finishing up. You missed most of the stream, actually. I'm almost done. I've got maybe another 5 minutes-ish left, if that. First row, 3rd armor. And first row, 1st armor. Oops. About like that. There we are. So one final time. My predictions are going to be raid, war, seasonal, raid, seasonal, fusion, seasonal, exclusive. No idea. That air and water at the end, I really still don't know what that is. But I need to shorten this up a little bit, so I'm going to take it to about, let me see how 1150 works. That actually works out perfectly. Cool. So there we are. Thanks everyone for joining. That's basically it. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'll throw it up on KnD Bot here in just a few with my predictions. And I'll also throw it up on the Discord version as well shortly thereafter. And then I'll be uploading this live stream to YouTube in the interim in between that time frame. And then hopefully I'll be able to get some stat sheets done because it's about quarter after 10 right now my time. So I've still got like an hour and a half before I would normally go to bed. But that's it. Again, thanks everyone for joining in. This is a little later than normal only because the art came late. I got it late Sunday night of this past weekend, so I didn't have a chance to do much with it until now. But hopefully the next one will be a little bit more timely, and I'll have it before, too much later in the month like this time around, because I normally do the live streams between like the 7th and the 10th, maybe the 14th at the latest. So that's it. Thanks everyone, and see you in a few weeks. Appreciate it.